Vinny from Sky.
David, I think it'll be your 750th Premier League game in charge. How does that feel, reaching that kind of landmark?
So I've been told. Well, I've obviously got my 1,000 games, which is really important for any managers, and I think a great achievement for any managers to do 1,000 games. But they'll tell me it's 750 in the Premier League, so it's not something I really look for. But I've got to say, when people tell me, I go, well, that's good. So I'm pleased, yeah.
How far are you thinking you can go? You're 60 short of Sir Alex, 78 short of Arsène Wenger.
I thought I was, in Premier League games?
League games.
I'm a bit closer than I thought, actually, when you say that.
Do it in 2 seasons,
I thought they were miles away, So no, but I've always said, I don't want to be too grey, too fat on the touchline. I'm becoming to get both, so that's the problem. But look, I'm enjoying my football. I feel young. The players keep me young, and as long as I keep up the energy, then I'm happy to keep going.
2 seasons you can do it, so it's a cheeky way of asking you about your contract here, I suppose.
No, I said there's certainly not be any talks. I'm not that bothered till we get the majority of the season over, and we're still getting an important sort of month or so to go.
What's your reaction, though, to Michael Keane signing for another year, and how important was it to get that one done?
Well, the biggest thing is he deserves it, doesn't he? It's sometimes footballers, when you get to a later stage in your career and maybe your age as well, sometimes you have to prove to the managers, prove to the supporters, prove to the club that you're good enough to be worthy of another contract. When you get in that age, you can't be given all the old ones 3, 4, 5 year contracts, because obviously they're not going to play forever. But if you're brave enough and you're willing to take the challenge on and say, I'll show you, like Michael Keane's done, he's certainly done it and certainly deserved to get his contract.
What about 2 others in a similar situation, Idrissa Gueye and Séamus Coleman? Anything you can say about
that? There'll be more about them in the weeks to come.
Just wanted to ask about Iliman Ndiaye as well. We spoke to him yesterday, and what you see is going to happen with him. He goes into the remaining 2 years of his contract.
3.
3?
Yeah, because he's got an option as well.
Oh, option. So no real concerns about that at the minute.
So no, there's no real, not worth the question you're asking me.
Worth checking, though, definitely.
So do your homework first, Vinny. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But on top of that, he also said to us yesterday that after the defeat to Liverpool, there was an anger in the dressing room. Is that something that you can harness now going forward?
I hope so. No, I think we're all still sort of bubbling a wee bit inside that we let an opportunity go. And whether if it was only 1 point or whether it was something more, we let an opportunity go, which we're all disappointed with. I think we scored a couple of late goals in games and we've celebrated and we know how good that feels. But certainly when you lose them, they're not very nice.
Does that then add to the motivation now with the remaining games?
I don't know if you can add any more to the motivation, but I hope that the players still feel it a little bit and are able to show it. But we also got to move on as well and get ready for the next game.
You certainly made the point how quickly things can change in terms of that race for Europe as well, and we've seen how that has changed again. The fact is, though, that you look at the situation that you're in at the moment, the win puts you back on level points with Brighton, who was 6th.
Yeah, but I'm back not talking about it again because it looks a long way away today, doesn't it? And so there's not much to talk about regarding that, So.
As I said, that it can change quickly.
Well, it can change, but when it changes, then we'll start talking about it again. I've been talking about it a lot. I've been wanting to sort of keep all the supporters, the football club, being positive and upbeat with where we think we are and what we're doing. It makes a change from where we've been in years gone by. So, but today I'm just sitting back and we'll see how it goes.
What then do you expect from West Ham, given the scrap that they're facing down there as well?
Just exactly what you said. I think they're fighting for everything. There's a great group of lads there, which certainly are left and hugely enjoyed. A really, really good football club, which certainly shouldn't be going into the Championship. That's the way I look at it. But the Premier League's unforgiving, and if you're not quite at it, you don't recruit right, or you don't spend enough, you could find yourself in that position every year. So you've got to make sure that you're doing all those things well at the football clubs. I don't really believe in chopping and changing the managers 3 or 4 times a year, is making a big help to teams or to the players who play for the club. But I think that the clubs need to look at themselves a little bit and see if they can do a better job.
Just finally then, given what you're saying? Are you surprised at where they are, given what you left behind, if you like?
Well, I hoped we'd never been in that position before. When I took over, we were just avoiding relegation. So, no, we have to accept that West Ham have been a side that have been relegated not too far ago. Have been a side who've been close to it on 2 or 3 occasions. But I felt that probably the time I was there, we had probably started to look like a side that wasn't going to be in that situation. We'd got ourselves 6th and 7th, I think, 2 years, maybe 1 year 9th, maybe 1 year we were a bit more disappointing, 14th maybe 1 year, can't remember exactly, but also in that, with 3 European seasons where once was a quarter-final, one was a semi-final and one was the winners of a final. So I think for a club in that situation, I would say that's where West Ham need to be. But sometimes everybody wants a little bit more.
Thanks, David. Good luck.
Cheers.
Thanks, Vinny. We'll go to Stuart at Premier League Productions.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Stuart.
When you look at what's happened at West Ham in the 2 years just about since you left, does it make you more proud, really, of what you've achieved in that time?
I'm really sad for the situation they're club in, because I hugely enjoyed my time in London. I had a brilliant period there with the players, with the staff. They've got great staff. And I know what it means. If you're going to get relegated, there's a lot of people going to lose their jobs at football clubs. That's just what it happens, because obviously there's a big difference from the championship requirements to what would be needed in the Premier League. So I really hope that isn't the situation.
It's obviously serious for any club to be relegated, but you know West Ham, you know it very well. How serious would it be for them should the worst happen?
Well, look, there's worse things in the world happening at the moment than getting relegated, but I don't think there's any football club wants to get relegated. I do know that the years I was there and I had 2 seasons where we were fighting relegation. I was parading about the streets of London myself, couldn't look at the results, didn't want to look at the league tables when the games were coming in, because I was so anxious about not getting relegated and desperate that it didn't happen. I'm sure all the players at West Ham and the people there will be feeling the same just now.
And behind the scenes here, I wonder if thoughts began to turn to what maybe your requirements might be for next season, or does it depend in a way where you finish?
I don't know if it depends where we finish. I think that where we finish might have an impact on maybe what we have to do or what we don't have to do. But I think overall, I think we're just going to try and see where we are. We're in a strong position. We've been in a strong position. I hope we can retain that.
Is Beto fit as well?
No, Beto has a concussion and will miss this week's game.
Thanks, Stuart. We'll go to Julia at Radio Merseyside.
Thank you. On the back of that, then, I'll just ask you quickly for any other team news.
Well, obviously, Jarrad will be out for the season. And then, obviously, we've got quite a long, close season, so there should be plenty of time for him to get himself fit and ready to start next season, but won't be fit again to play this season. So, really, the 2 out is Jarrad and Beto at the moment, yeah.
How is Jarrad? Because he did look devastated in the match, and this is a second summer again. He's going to be facing a fight for fitness. How is he, and how are you dealing with that?
He's much better, because he's realised that it isn't an injury to the same hamstring operation area which he had. It's in a different spot, and it's like a hamstring that any player could get, and you might be out for maybe for 6 weeks or so with hamstring, maybe a bit more, maybe a bit less, depending on where it is. But we hope that he gets back. But obviously, you can see the shape of him. His speed's a big part of his game, his attributes, and I think when you're getting that level, maybe there's a bigger chance of getting hamstring injuries. But no, we feel for him, because he played really well in the game. Played really well.
Are you concerned that because of the style of player and style of defender he is this going to be a risk going forward?
I hope not. I hope it's a wee bit of an age where he might just be, I don't want to say it's like growing pains, it's far from that. He's a grown man now. But I think he's still learning a little bit more about himself and what he does. I hope that's the case. But ultimately, he's had a couple of hamstrings now, and we're obviously worried about it, yeah.
obviously Beto out. I just want to ask about Harrison Armstrong as well at the moment. Is he fit and available? And also, what's his plans for his progress? Because I know you were toying with sending him back to Premier.
Yeah, and you can maybe see we've got people fit now, and I always said that, you know, we needed him badly, and he played really well for us. He needs to keep his work up at the moment. He's just had a little bit of dip, and I can see that from him. But probably expected from a boy who's played a long part of the season and that. But no, he's fit and training.
Thierno Barry has had a little bit of a dip as well. I know he's had substitute appearances. He hasn't scored in the last 5. What more can he do to show you what he can do?
Well, he can score, can't he? That's it. Score and play well and be a team player. If you do that, then we don't ask for much more. We're asking him to do the best he possibly can, nothing more. And hopefully he'll fulfil that for us. He's had moments this season where he's been very good for us. So I'm hoping he can do it again.
Is this an opportunity with him with Beto out?
If I choose to play him.
I'll ask you, I've asked you a couple of times about Braiden Graham, but he is somebody that Evertonians talk about a lot. He scored 4 and got an assist with the under-21s last week. Could he be someone now, if Beto is out, can he factor in and come in and travel with you at least to try and get some form of experience with you? Can you understand why people ask as well? Because he's what seems exciting in the academy setup.
Mm-hmm. No, everybody wants good young players to come through, and I'm pleased that Braiden's doing really well. I think he's got a bit to go before he's at our level, but I'm really pleased if he does that. Then he'll get more noticed. He'll probably get more chance of getting seen maybe in some round of pre-season than he would do now. I think if you're introducing that level of player now, you'd be thinking, well, what would you do in that for when you think you're still fighting for things?
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks, Julia. We'll go to Carl at the Press Association.
Sorry, just to pick up on what you said about Barry. You said obviously said if I
about
choose
who? Sorry,
Barry.
Barry.
You
Yeah.
said if I choose to play him.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's just what a manager would say normally, just to, or is it a serious consideration? You're considering playing somebody else instead of Barry up there?
Well, I've got other people who I think I can do it, and if I could consider that, yeah.
Who would they be? What?
Oh, I'm not going to tell you, am I?
Yeah. Oh, I'm just there.
You know, Graham Sharp's getting himself ready, so there you go. You can write that.
But I think you've had two strikers. One of them's injured. The natural assumption would be you played the other one.
Yeah,
You're saying
of course. Yeah.
There's alternatives.
No, you don't need to ask the question then, really. You got your answer.
All right, okay. Thank you.
Any further questions in the open section before we move on? No? Okay, thank you.
Cheers, David. Cheers, thank you.
Cheers. Thank you. See you later.
You can start swimming here as well later.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, good luck.
See you later.